Morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. I'm going to do the February the 8th spiritual principle a day in a meditation. The title of the meditation for today, Willing to Walk in Faith. When we show up for life with willingness and an open mind, the next right thing tends to present itself. That comes from the Living Clean book, chapter 3, Spirituality is Practical. I have a full, rich life in recovery, a member shared to nodding heads, but I'm facing some decisions about what comes next for me. I'm willing to do the next right thing if only I knew what that is. The options are all good. So how do I figure out what God's will is for me? After the meeting, some more experienced NA members offered their insights on steps 3 and 11. I would freak out trying to really know if my choices aligned with my higher power's will, one member shared. I was told, if you're looking for a burning bush, you're going to be disappointed. When we're dealing with clear-cut questions of right and wrong, should I steal this candy or pay for it? The next right thing is obvious. But looking for one correct response to life's multifaceted dilemmas can be paralyzing. The member continued, I came to understand that step 3 is all about my decision. My willingness to work the rest of the steps is that decision in action. My job is to show up, be willing, and do the work in front of me. So long as I'm plugged into the steps, I can trust my intuition. I used to pray to God to know God's will for me, too, one member confessed. My sponsor pointed out that self-centeredness had distorted my hearing. Step 11 isn't about me, it's about us. She went on to explain how a focus on us broadened her perspective. It changed my outlook and influenced how I pray and meditate. That made it easier to live by principles and to listen to my heart, trusting that my choices would enrich my ability to serve. Viewing life through a wide-angle lens puts our decisions within a larger context filled with love, support, and service. When we practice willingness and awareness, even our missteps expand our usefulness to others. When we're spiritually fit, doing the right thing doesn't have to be complicated. We find the willingness to walk in faith, knowing that we'll be all right. People like saying, when one door closes, another opens. As NA members, we become better equipped to navigate hallways with multiple doors, some leading nowhere, others to new worlds, and all of them preparing us to serve. I am willing to be guided by my higher power today. I will make principled decisions and take positive action, secure in the knowledge that my service will be enhanced. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today, please, and thank you. So here we're talking about spirituality is practical, and we're talking in particular about turning our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand him, as well as, right, through prayer and meditation, being able to maintain conscious contact with the God of our own understanding, asking only for the knowledge of his will for us and the power, strength, right, to carry that out. That's a big ask. This isn't, I don't want someone just listening and thinking that this is some small thing. This is not. This is about surrendering our own individuality, our own will, for the will of God, the God of your own understanding, which makes it even less likely that you can't do it. I could understand if I was asking you to surrender to the God of my understanding and you say, no, Mighty Stream, I can't do that. I don't have the same understanding of God as you. I can't do that. But that's not what this is asking. Narcotics Anonymous doesn't ask you to surrender to the understanding of another God, right? Or the God of someone else's understanding, better put, right? Narcotics Anonymous is not asking that of you. And so if you're sitting there and that's what you're thinking, like they use the G word too much, there's a whole movement trying to remove it from our books, right? It's just a title. No one is asking you to have their God, which, like I said, if I were to ask you to do that, if I were to ask you to maintain conscious contact with the God of my understanding, I could see you saying, I can't do that. And you would be justified because it's only your understanding that is going to open the door to enlightenment, right? Your perspective is what opens the door to being able to flow in how you understand things to go, right? It's not important for you to understand my higher power or to accept my higher power, but it is important for you to do that. And when you do that, you are surrendering your will to a power greater than yourself, to a higher power, whoever, whatever, however that is. So it takes away, right? If you're sitting there listening, it takes away all of your excuses for why you can't work this program. There's no more excuses. You have the same, I want to say, same opportunity, the same right and responsibility to have a third step and an 11th step. And yeah, I get it. It's a big leap from 3 to 11. I get that. 7 steps in between, 11 being the 8th one, right? The 8th one after the 3rd step. I get that. But it doesn't mean that you can casually not acknowledge this, because this is a program that has been working for many, many addicts. And if you're really sincere about wanting this new way of life, right? Our one promise that we hold out is that any addict can stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. If you are really, really serious about not continuing to cause harm to yourself and to others, to society, through active addiction, how many times have we overdosed? I mean, I'm just asking, how many times have we overdosed? How many times have we had handcuffs thrown on us? How many times did we reach out to a family member just to check in and let them know that we're alive, only to disappear for another run? Right? How many times? How much more does it take? Because the 3, it's going to end with jails, institutions, and death, right? You know that, right? It's going to actually end that way, and not necessarily in that order. And for many of us, we've already checked the box off several times on everything but death. And the majority of us are not prepared for a funeral service, right? Our own. We're not prepared. So even if death happens, we still in some kind of way are going to be burdensome to the people that we love because we haven't done what we needed to do to make final arrangements because we're too busy using, right? So when we're talking about spirituality is practical, we're not talking about shouldn't I steal this or pay for it? We're not, no. That is the most fundamental level of right and wrong. Stealing is wrong. So we're not talking about that because technically, typically, we have the ability to understand that that is a simple decision, right? But what about some of these other things in life? When we're talking about God's will for us, right? Getting rid of our will, in a sense, our self-will, and turning it over to the God of our own understanding. Like I said, there's no more excuses. It gets to be according to your understanding. So why haven't you done it? Oh, I get it, right? Too many resentments with religious organizations or people that promoted religious organizations. And so now we just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't want to do that stuff, right? Okay. But how do you get to 4 and 5 if you don't? It's according to your own understanding. So what is difficult about that? And then to move into that 11th step, right? Through prayer and meditation, or maybe for you, it's just through meditation. You're maintaining conscious contact with the God of your understanding, asking only for the knowledge of your God's will for you and the power, right, to carry that out. So, yeah, it sounds like it's all about you. It's all about your understanding. But have you gotten to the point where you can lean into step 3 and 11 for some of these decisions that aren't so obvious, where maybe all of your choices are good and you're trying to discern which one is your higher power leading you to? What if your higher power is just leading you to the fact that you have many choices and to have faith in your spirituality and your connectedness to your higher power, that you will make a decision and to trust that decision is going to have goodwill weaved throughout it, service to others weaved throughout it, spiritual principles, virtue, honesty, integrity, humility, perseverance weaved throughout it. And then you can move on that. And so what if it ends up not being the most perfect result? So what? You have all the tools that you need to be able to stay clean no matter what. Look at you now. Look at who you are now. A miracle in and of itself, not hide, staying clean one day at a time, one situation at a time. You know, this is where the rubber meets the road for most people because they lack the understanding of the step. So the application of it is faulty, if at all. And the frustration and the exhaustion that comes as a result of running on self-will or a pseudo God's will, because you don't really have the understanding that this is about you, but it ends up being what your higher power can do through you in a spirit of service and goodwill to others, doing the right thing for the right reasons. And so you become stuck in a sense, not fully accessing the complete benefits of this program and what it offers through the steps. Because really, right, we're seeking that spiritual awakening in step 12. This is a real good topic for us to come back to. Like, this is a 5-star. This is something that we want to come back to and really think about and see where we're actually at. This is something like that daily inventory. We need to know where we're at on a regular basis on this step 3 and step 11. Because a lot of times we spiritualize, or I don't want to say spiritualize, we make it so religious that it's intangible for most of us because we have so much resentment with religion, forgetting that we're spirit beings, we're spiritual people living a physical experience. So that means that what I need is within me. It's within me. But if I don't ever get to step 3 or to even doing the fearless and moral inventory of myself, I may never realize it. I may always be stuck at the doorstep of step 3. My name is MightyStream. I am excited to be with you today. I am preparing to go to Iowa again. So the next time you hear from me, if I only had the time to pre-record, I wouldn't have to worry about this. But the next time you're going to hear from me, I will probably be in the lobby or in the bathroom in my self-made studio in a hotel in Iowa as we prepare to memorialize my father. So thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate it so much. You have a beautiful day on purpose. You deserve it. And if you don't do it, who's going to do it for you? My name is MightyStream. Talk to you tomorrow.